Hey, okay, shut that music off. Morning, Paul. How you doing today? Oh, I am a mess today. I have got absolutely nothing planned. I know I'd wanted to talk about some of these Supreme Court rulings and other court rulings that have been going on with these activist judges being overruled. No, you can't deport them. Yes, you can. No, you can't do this. Yes, you can. This judge telling Trump, no, he can't do this. Then next, the appeals courts or the Supreme Court saying, yes, you can. I know I said I wanted to talk about that, but I have been laid up basically since Tuesday afternoon. I should not have gone into work Tuesday night, but I did. Like I'll go in Saturday night regardless. Just driving a coworker around. Ooh, that sounds interesting to say the least. They look doing house hunting or looking for a car or something like that. So you're driving them so that they can try to find it, or you introducing them to the area, showing them where all the sights and sounds are, and making them suffer listening to me. Mr. Coworker, I tell you what, normally I am not like this. Today is an oddball. But then because like I said, I've got nothing planned. I wanted to go over these rulings because there's been over the past few months, over the past year actually, so many of these activist judges have stepped in, acting like they're the president. And we're talking about district judges, about 600 of one of, nope, you're the driver today. Oh, got me playing in your ear, so you're not making him suffer listening to me. Oh, okay. You're a nice fella. You, but over the past year, there's over 600 of these district judges in the country. Not a single one of them were elected to office. All of them been appointed, and pretty much just, yeah, you've been appointed. Congress votes you through. No real arguments on most of them. And even if there were arguments, because uh, Ted Cruz, Marsha Blackburn, they've really done a lot to try to stop some of these left wing judges, far left wing judges, ones that want to put men into women's prisons, men convicted of rape, men convicted of sexually molesting children, putting them into women's prisons because, oh, I'm transgender now. I'm actually a woman. That I did what I did because I'm actually a woman trapped in a man's body, and my brain just made me. This whole thing's just made me do things that I should not be doing. But I swear, you know, if the state pays for me to get a set of boobies, let me grow my hair and all this other neat good stuff, and put me in with women, I'll be a good guy. I'll be a good person from now on. And meanwhile, women in the prisons are being subjected to having men in there with them. But I mean, these are the type of judges that got in under Biden, under Obama. So, and I'm not going to say the judges appointed by Republican presidents, even Trump, while they wouldn't be doing stuff like that, there's some legitimate complaints about some of these Republican appointed judges. Some of them, I believe, actually are too harsh in their rulings, in their sentencings. Some of them are a little bit too lenient. But most of the Republican appointed judges don't step in and pretend they're the president. Not at district level. Not like these judges that have been appointed by Biden and Obama. And like I said, I wanted to go through and sit down and go through the rulings and then which ones have been reversed. Because very few have actually been upheld. Damn, there's 3 squirrels running across my driveway and keep setting off my security system. And we got FedEx deliveries coming in today. So I need to leave it on so that I know when the FedEx driver gets here. Because I've got to go out and sign for a couple of packages today. Got some medications being delivered. Because honestly, I just don't feel I don't trust myself today to go out driving. But anyway, and like I don't know how long I'm even going to be able. I don't know. I don't think I will be able to make this a 2-hour stream today. I'll probably be lucky to make it an hour unless people pop in. That's why I posted and pinned the. Oh, did it pin? I thought I pinned it. Yeah, it's pinned. That's why I pinned the link for people to pop in today. Anybody wants to pop in. If you got even a halfway decent sounding mic, go ahead and pop up in. Right. So you don't have a mic with you today there, Paul? But yeah, I mean, I've burned through the audiobooks though this week. I will have to say that. Now, how much of them I actually listened to the entire book before I fell asleep, I can't say. But fortunately, they're all books that I've listened to. I've read a dozen times and I've listened to another half a dozen times. So, I mean, it's not like I don't know what happened in the books. But there's books that you get, and I know I'm getting a little sidetracked here. But there are books that you get that no matter how many times you read them and reread them and reread them, how many times, and then, since I do audiobooks now, how many times you've listened to them, you still enjoy the daylights out of them. Almost anything by Heinlein, almost anything by Asimov. The Dragon Riders of Pern series is written by Anne McCaffrey, not her son and daughter. I don't like those as much. Right, the Terry Goodkind Sword of Truth series, which I describe as a very adult Harry Potter. Yeah. Which I mean, and when I say very adult, I mean there's blood, guts, and gore in it. There's a lot of it's not graphic sex, but there is sex. But it's not graphic. Um, there are scenes I would not want my older sister to listen to, and I could not listen to in the presence, on a speaker, in the presence of my daughter-in-law. And but they're not. It's not a recurring thing every chapter or every other chapter or anything like that. And it does fit in with the storyline of the book. So it's not, sex just for sex's sake. Um, but anyway, so like I said, it's a man discovers that he's got magical powers that he never knew he had. Finds out his grandfather is a wizard. Finds out his father is a dark wizard. Uh, he's got wizards on both sides of his family, and he never knew it until he was an adult. A lot of sword play, a lot of magic, of course. So both dark magic and good magic. So, like I said, it's a very adult Harry Potter. I really enjoy it. The first 13 books. I haven't. He wrote some more books after that, and some of them I haven't bought or listened to. Uh, and I probably should, but and I may go ahead and do it now. I mean I can get 13 more books for that I've already paid for by subscription price, so I ought to go ahead and get them just to listen to them. Uh, but yeah, the books are good reading. Um, then of course, there's, let's see, who else do I like to read? Um, I'll have to pull them up. But audiobooks make up a large part of my life because whereas I used to sit and read books and I'd have 4 or 5 books going at a time. Had the toilet book, had at least one book on the bed on the nightstand that I read at night before going to sleep, or rather, fell asleep while reading. Then a book by my chair, at least one book by my chair that uh, I don't even turn on the television when the wife's not home. The TV's usually not on because I'm even before I got into audiobooks, because I would be sitting there reading a book. I didn't watch much TV. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good books out there. And the thing I've always enjoyed about books since I was young, I mean, and I'm talking grade school, elementary school. I was reading at a fifth grade level when I was in third grade. Because I mean, one of the first books my grandmother bought me my first hardback book my grandmother bought me is called Black Gold, about a racehorse. And I've still got that book. No, um, actually, yes, I still have that book, but I passed it down to my son, and and he never got into reading, so I got it back, and I'll go and try to pass it down to my grandson. Reading is, I mean, they used to say reading is fundamental, and I truly believe that. Um, Children should be reading more time reading, less time on tablets, computers, and television. My mom and dad wanted me to sit down and be quiet. They just handed me a book to read. And my dad was a reader. That man he read historical fiction mostly, historical fiction and westerns. And he got me into Louis L'Amour. God, that man could write some westerns. They were, if you want to read some really good westerns, read the Louis L'Amour. I'm trying to remember the name of the series that he wrote. And then there was the name of the series. It wasn't Louis L'Amour. It's another author called The Bastard, and the Bastard series, and that's another historical fiction. Starts off in England, I believe. It's either England or Scotland, and a guy comes to the new country, still under English rule. It's not. I don't believe it's the Americas yet. So pre-Revolutionary War, I believe. Then there's the Sackett series. The Sackett series was by Louis L'Amour. An amazing series. If you like westerns, get those. Uh, but if these kids would be reading, and you can always find, I mean, I read sci-fi. I still read sci-fi. Sci-fi was my favorite series. I didn't get into fantasy until I really got into high school, I believe, is before I got into fantasy books dealing with magic and swords and sorcery type stuff. I didn't get into that until I was in high school. But I think a lot of the what goes on with children today is they can't imagine things in their brain like you do like you have to when you read a book. First of all, it introduces you to new words, but forces you to visualize what's going on. And I was that kid, I still am to a degree, that I got sucked, especially like the Louis L'Amour books and the Bastard series, and Anne McCaffrey's, the Ship Who Sang, or the series. I got sucked into these worlds. I was in that world. And when I put the book down, or when the book ended, it take me a couple of seconds to get myself back into reality. Because I mean, I'm so enthralled. I get so enthralled in these books, and I think that, and I know not everybody does that. I mean, my son doesn't do it. My wife doesn't get into it like that, and I think that's a shame that my son doesn't get into that like I, uh, in the books. I really do, and I'm hoping I can get my grandson into books and into reading, because it improves your language skills, introduces you to new ideas, new thoughts, and anytime you can be introduced into new thoughts, into new ideas, expanding your horizons is a good thing. So I, but anyway, boy, it's amazing how I go from talking about courts to getting philosophical about reading, and how that improves your mind and improves the way you see things. You're, beyond what you would, normally get just living your life. Because most of us, face it, when most of us live our lives, we get up in the morning, and we're in a routine, and you don't, when you're in routines, you don't think, you just do. You get up in the morning, you go get your cup of coffee, you sit down, you open up your phone or your tablet or your computer, you look at the news while drinking your coffee, or you turn on the television and listen to the news, or you turn on the radio and listen to music or the news, whatever. But that's your routine. If you eat breakfast, you get yourself your bowl of cereal, or you fry up your egg. Then you go get your shower, you get dressed, you go to work, you come home, you know, you eat your dinner, you turn on the television, you go brain numb watching your TV shows. Then you go to bed, and you wake up the next morning, and your routine starts all over again. And there's few things that causes you to break out of that routine to get your mind going. Now, granted, the internet's wonderful for doing that. Okay. Um, and as much as people deride TikTok and YouTube shorts, yes, a lot of them are just brainless entertainment. But lately, I've been listening to this, Iranian woman. She's no longer lives in Iran. I think she lives in Canada now. But she talks about Iranian politics and life in Iran, and what it was like before she left. And I find that fascinating. And I don't, and yes, I understand this is all her perspective. This is all her opinion. These are all events and how she came out of them, what how they formed her, and her opinion, yada. I understand that, and I take everything she says from that perspective, but still information I did not have before. And I find that to be a good thing, at least for me. I think that's a good thing. Listening to people who've actually lived in these Iran, um, and experienced what it was like from their perspective. Hey, morning, old guy. So I would not have discovered her if if I had not been listening to the political side or the more serious side of TikTok. And now I listen to her streams or her podcast or whatever, her videos that she puts up on YouTube also. And I just find it, I think it's interesting to listen to somebody that actually lived it and then left it as a young adult. Now you got these people out there. Well, I lived there until I was 5 years old. Okay, but you don't know nothing about it. Well, I was there until you know nothing about it. Well, no. Whereas if they left as a young adult, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, okay, now you've got some experiences worthwhile for me to listen to. You've got a little bit more, you know, experience. Uh, um, uh, Ilhan, she left Somalia when she was what, 5 years old. She's got no experience. She's got this idealized view of Somalia. Somalia is a perfect country according to her. But she left there when she was so young. She, you know, she doesn't know. She never lived, uh, and under what to know what it was actually like. So she's got, and that, and then of course she's in a Somalian community where it's like you've where everybody has idealized what they left. Oh, they left it because it's horrible, but now that they're in the states, they've idealized where they come from. And I understand that process. I haven't lived in Ohio since 1978. I had not lived in Ohio. Have I visited Ohio quite a bit since then? Yeah. Since 78, I probably got 6 months to a year of visitation time. Oh no, no, she doesn't. Yeah, she loves Somalia. I mean, she said that she hates America and that everything she votes on in Congress is to, you know, make Somalia, she votes from a Somalian view. She doesn't vote from the view of being an American. I find her to be absolutely disgusting. And I like this idea that's being floated out there. And I know it's going to hurt some people like Ted Cruz. It's going to hurt some, for some of the people on the Republican side. But I like this idea that's out there being floated that anybody serving in Congress cannot have dual citizenship. That would force them. You want to serve in Congress? Fine. Then you have to be you can only be an American citizen. You can't be have a citizenship also in Canada or England or Somalia or Iran or Iraq or anywhere else. You can't have dual citizenship, with Mexico. I'd also love to see it as a congressional rule that if you espouse, like Ilhan has, that you are voting from a Somalian point of view or from another country's point of view, or you know, to make another country great, like Ilhan has, then you lose your seat. You're expelled from Congress. I want to see that. I want to see that. Even if you say you're going to vote from a Canadian's point of view or an English point of view. No, I need you voting to support America, to make them, to make America great again. That's where I need you to vote from. That's the attitude I want from our Congress, our people in Congress. I think that's what irritates me the most about these Democrats who want to. Well, we need to make it easier for these brown-skinned Latin Americans to come in our country. Why? What are they? What are? Well, they're coming to make their lives better. Okay, they're coming to make their lives better, but how are they going to make America better? What are they doing to make America better? They're not doing it. They're coming here with nothing but they're not coming here with doctorate degrees. They're not coming here with medical degrees. They're not coming here as business owners. They're not coming here with unique with computer skills. How are they coming here to make America great? What are they doing? You know, I don't understand it. And my opinion, again, this is my opinion, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But most of them, when they do come here and they do earn their paycheck, they're sending their money back to Mexico or Guatemala or Brazil or wherever they're from. Their money's not even being spent here in the United States. No, oh, guy, you're right. There's no countries trying to be like the United States anymore because they've imported so many people. And it's an argument I've gotten into online about uh, the freedom of religion in the United States. I believe in the freedom of religion in the United States, except for Islam. Because it is a tenet of Islam, unlike any other religion, that they will force every country to submit to Sharia law. Even through violence, they will force every person, every country, every home to submit to Sharia law. And that is a religion I will not abide by in this country. I cannot abide to that religion in this country. New York has all but fallen to Islam. It will be like Dearborn. That New York will become like Dearborn. Somebody did something. They hacked into Dearborn's uh, one of the mosques in Dearborn. They hacked into their system and started playing country music through their loudspeakers when they're trying to do their call to prayer. During one of their call to prayers, and the Muslims in that mosque went absolutely nuts over it. And honestly, I found it funny. I really and truly did. I sat on my couch and I laughed. It was one of the few days. It was one of the few times that I laughed yesterday. 'Cause I was not, like I said, I should not have went into work Tuesday night. And I spent most of yesterday laying flat on my back. In fact, I was so bad yesterday. I'm only made wife come home from work and I went and made sliders for dinner. And how they turned out even halfway decent, I have no idea. I know I didn't use enough meat because it only made it. I only instead of doing the whole thing of the Hawaiian rolls, it only covered 9 of them. So that is what seven of the dinner rolls didn't get any meat on them. No, I have not seen that infograph. If you've got a link to it, old guy, I'd love to see it. But yeah, there is a definite problem with uh, the guy and the argument the guys put. Well, you can't believe in the First Amendment if you're against Islam. No, I can believe in the First Amendment and be against Islam because Islam is a radical. I just like I can be against any religion that calls for the sacrifice of a baby. Try to bring back the old Aztec religions where they sacrificed people. I can be against that because I think it's violently wrong. And I view Islam in the same way as I would view somebody trying to bring that. Ooh, not. I tell you, pork chops are great. I love a good pork chop, but I found that if I can, even if I gotta use stovetop stuff, and I'd much rather have a stuffed pork chop. Take the extra time to make a stuffed pork chop. I find that I like that even better. Uh, or slide a couple of apple pieces, slices of apple into the, uh, slit the pork chop open, make a little pocket, and put some apples in it. I find I enjoy that pork chop a lot better that way. But if you've got the thin pork chops, you just can't do it. Oh, I wonder if you took apples, either apple sauce or apple juice, and cooked the pork chop with that. Ooh, ooh, I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to have to try that. Cooking when frying up the pork chops or when baking the pork chops, doing it with applesauce or apple juice. I think applesauce would be better. Unsweetened applesauce. I think that'd be better. Man, Paul, you have given me an idea. I hope you're getting a lot of overtime there, though, Paul. I hope you're being paid overtime. I mean, you're working the overtime, but I'm hoping you're getting a good paycheck for that overtime. But back to, I've got no problem with, there's a Hindu temple in town. Doesn't bother me one bit. I mean, we've got Indians here, and they've got their temple. They're not planning on violently taking over the country. They go, they do their worship, they have their, and I mean, and they're, I don't know what they call it, but their services for the poor and the indigent are fantastic. Um, let's see there's a Jewish temple here. There's the Hindu, or for the, uh, yeah, it's Hindu, I believe. I don't think we have any Buddhists here. We may, we may have some Buddhists. That apple cider would work too. If you got apple cider, the wife bought some apples that she doesn't eat by Saturday. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze them, make apple juice out of them. I had some oranges that we weren't eating, so I went ahead and squeezed them and ran those through the juicer and got some orange juice in the refrigerator. Fresh. The wife doesn't like the pulp, so I had to strain them to get the pulp out. Personally, I like the pulp, so I hate the pulp. I strain I the pulp that I strained out of the juice I ate. But most religions, I don't have a problem with. No problem with them practicing their religion in the country because they're not coming in to overtake the country with their religion. It's like that the mayor in Dearborn saying that when the Christians leave, he's going to throw a parade. Bans the city has banned Christians from setting up booths inside city limits. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely pretty accurate. Mosque in Germany, churches in Saudi Arabia. That is 100% accurate. I can remember when I used to get overtime. Now I've got to be careful that I don't uh, that I've got actually have had my hours cut at work to keep my pay under $900 a month before taxes. So that actually, I actually I can bring home $600 a month after taxes. That's it. So, and hey, that's $600 a month. That's almost my mortgage. So I'm not going to complain about it. Add another $200 to it, and that's my mortgage. Congress needs to review that because with everybody, and I mean, and I'm just, because with minimum wages going up everywhere, that $600 a month don't quite reach like it used to. Even 5 years ago, that what $600 a month bought 5 years ago, it doesn't come close to buying this now. Probably going to get close enough to the OT. What is the overtime deductible, Paul? I do not know what that is. What is that part of the big beautiful plan that overtime is no longer taxable or won't be isn't going to be taxable starting next year? Overtime not being taxed in 2025. In 2025, certain overtime pay will not be taxed due to the new legislation allowing for deductions to be for qualified overtime compensation, but federal payroll taxes will still apply. Okay, so that's what you're talking about. Workers can deduct up to $12,500 qualified overtime compensation per year, or $25,000 for joint. The deduction is, let me share this. The deduction is available to employees who earn overtime under the Fair Labor Standard. Okay, however, does not apply to overtime paid voluntarily by employers based solely on state laws or contractual agreements. Income phase out deduction because modified. Okay, so if you earn above 150 grand, you can't do it. Despite the deduction, federal income tax, withholding, and also Social Security and Medicare taxes will still be deducted. Oh, okay. So they're still going to tax you on it on a week-to-week basis, but you get to claim the deduction when you file your taxes. Gotcha. Dumb female. Okay. There's a lot of super dumb females, just like there's a lot of super dumb men. "22-year-old OnlyFans model Sherry Vandersloot got a new nose job, so her children will inherit her new nose, not the ugly one she formerly had." I don't want my kids to grow up being based on a more natural nose. Oh God! I heard you make it laugh. Oh, oh. Hmm. It's a good thing she must have been born with a decent body because she was not born with any brains. Oh, she's as dumb as a box of rocks. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Uh, is that real? Oh, Sherry Vandersloot. Oh, is that real? Oh, oh God, it is real. It is real. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's unbelievable. Uh, that is absolutely unbelievable. That she actually believed that. That oh my Lord have mercy. December 2nd, 2025. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is true. Oh. Oh God, I've seen that. That's true. She actually did that. Oh my. Thank you. I needed that laugh. Thank you. That was too good. Oh. Oh my. Okay. I'm going to make a thumbnail for this, and that picture's going to be on it. That is going to be on it. Oh my goodness. When I make up the thumbnail for this, that's going to be at the thumbnail. Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, I won't have to show that to the wife tonight. Oh, that is. My wife hates my laugh, and I'm sorry for subjecting you guys to. Oh, guy, you did you made me subject everybody to my laughter. But oh, I tell you, my gut hurts. That was good. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh man. That is absolutely hilarious. Well, I tell you, I truly hope she was. I truly hope she's making amazing money over there on OF. I hope she's making amazing money over there. Okay, and enough to retire on in 10 years. She's 22 now. Yeah, she'll be able to make it till she's 32. Then her money will start dropping off. So I hope for the next 10 years she makes a bloody fortune so that enough that she can retire on. Speaking of retiring on, had y'all heard about that 88-year-old man? He'd worked for he worked for a company that after he retired, they went bankrupt. So he lost his pension as part of when they went bankrupt. Then his wife died of cancer, and he had to go back to work. And at 88, he's still out there working in a store. Well, this guy online found out about it, heard the story, so he went up and interviewed him on his webcast, on his podcast, whatever, and started a GoFundMe for him. In a rather short time, he raised over $1.8 million. And it was enough, evidently, that the man's being able to pay off what he still owes on the medical debt and quit working. That's at least is what the popular story is. Whether or not that's, he's able to pay off all the medical debt and quit working is, I don't know, but I find it amazing. Well, no, I shouldn't, because I've heard, uh, I've heard other stories. There's a guy that did yard work for free. He'd find yards that are overgrown and go up and offer to do them for free. And usually the yards were overgrown because the individual that owned the house was older, 70s, 80s, 90s, and they just couldn't get out there to do the yard work anymore. They're physically disabled. Well, there was one older lady that he went to do the yard work for, and the stairs going up to her door were shot, and just a lot of repair work needed to be done. So he started a GoFundMe and raised several $100,000, enough to remodel the house, do all the necessary repairs, new roof, etc., and paint the house. Oh, okay, that wasn't Smokey doing that. Something just rattled my garage door. But anyway, must be wind getting in underneath the main garage door, rattling the door between the. Oh, my squirrels are busy out there. Cool. We've developed some pet squirrels in our yard. The wife feeds them, puts out peanuts for them. And the squirrels are out there doing their thing. Oh, guy, I hope she ain't making any babies. Oh, yeah, old guy, all the money that was in the raised by the GoFundMe's went to the two people. And he got with the old lady there. They even got in a financial planner, I believe, or a tax attorney, somebody to ensure that nobody ripped her off. Basically, giving her allowance every month to live on, to go grocery shopping, and then they're making certain that all of her bills got paid, her electric bill and gas bill and such. I I tell you, I think that's absolutely amazing that they did that, and that and in a lot of these cases, those GoFundmes, it's amazing how your little, you think, well, I've only got, I've only got $5. Well, your $5 and somebody else's $5 and somebody else's $2 and somebody else's $1. You get a few hundred people, a few thousand people, even donating $5 a piece or even $1 a piece. That money racks up in a hurry. And when you're going across the internet and you're getting people from all around the world donating, you know, what would be equivalent of $2 or $3 American, uh, a story that touches people's hearts like that, you change, lives can be changed. In the case of that older woman, her house was made safe and sound for her, and she a stove that she had that only had one working burner. They were, bought her a new stove and put in. Got her water heater fixed. You know, a new roof. Her roof wasn't leaking anymore. It was just absolutely amazing what they got done on that for that older woman. She's going to live the rest of her life in relative comfort now, not ease. She's not living high on the hog, but she doesn't have to worry about her house falling down around her anymore. This 88-year-old man, he's not having to struggle with medical bills anymore. Left over from his wife dying of cancer. So I get leery when I hear people, starting GoFundMe sometimes, or a lot of times on the internet, because a lot of those scam artists. That's all I'm going to say. Scam artists. It's a shame that you can't trust people to be honest. That you always got to look out for the scams. That's the first thing. Is the first thing you got to consider: is this a scam or not? Is this somebody just trying to find a way to get as much money as possible without doing any work? And then then something else is always I've wondered about with these GoFundMe's like this. Is that income taxable? 13 Republicans vote to nullify Donald Trump's executive order. Which executive order? Okay, what's that? What is going on there? Uh, a Michigan coach jailed? 13 Republicans vote. Okay, 13 Republicans Vote with Dems to advance repeal of Trump order on federal unions. Okay, what? Oh, Trump's order blocked collective bargaining with unions at an array of federal agencies, including parts of the defense, state and veterans affairs, justice, and energy. Also affected workers at Homeland Security, Treasury, Health and Human Services, Interior, and Agriculture. All right. Well, on this, I've got to agree with Trump. I don't believe anybody who works for the government in any capacity should be able to unionize. Just that plain and simple. I do not believe that anybody who draws a taxpayer dollar should be able to unionize and should be able to go on strike. I don't care if you work for the city government, the county government, the state government, or the federal government. If you draw your paycheck from the taxpayer's pocket, you should not be able to go on. You should not be able to go on strike. You should not be able to unionize. Oh, okay. That that's good to know, old guy. Thank you for that. And see, that's what I thought, but I wasn't certain on that. Oh, the MSU, Michigan University, the Wolverines coach was arrested for assault charges. The statement also confirmed an unnamed suspect was taken. Somebody else was taken in custody. All right. He was also fired for engaging in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Ha. Well, 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 well. Yeah, being a Buckeyes fan and and that state up north, I've what can I say? That friendly rivalry. I don't like the idea that they're firing the coach because he probably had sex with somebody he shouldn't have had sex with. As long as it was an adult, not a student, I don't care. You know, you you should be able to have sex with who you want to have sex with as long as they're not a student or under your direct supervision. Yeah, I can see that old guy, stipulations on how it's used, 'cause- but yeah, if you have one person donate $1 million through a GoFundMe, I can see where, it's like, come on, and I think there's upper limit on what can be considered a gift, a personal gift versus. I remember reading somewhere, this was back in the 60s, I believe, a case back in the 60s where uh, the limit on a gift was like $50,000. Anything under $50,000 could be considered a gift. I'm not 100% certain on that though. It's been a long time since I delved into that mess. Uh, but now I'm wondering how much can be considered a gift and not. Oh, in 2025, you can give gifts up to $19,000 per recipient without triggering gift tax reporting requirements. 19 grand. Okay. If you are married, you and your spouse can gift up to $38,000. And there is a lifetime gift exemption of 13.99 million. Gift tax is 18 to 40%. Wow. 40% gift tax. Yikes. Why even bother giving a gift if you got to give 40% of it to the government? There was something about AI that popped up, because a lot of time I'm finding I like to use the AI on some things when I'm doing searches and such. Uh, or like to draw certain things. I want an image. Uh, when my sister was down here visiting over Thanksgiving week and a half there, almost two. We had and I was setting up her computer and she was asking about this AI thing on there. So I showed her how, and she used to have a little white furry dog, not quite a poodle, it was some French name, Bonfair or something like that. And it died a couple years ago. And I said, and I used to call the dog Punnable because just small, it's the size of a football. And as a joke, I called him puntable. And so I typed in what it was. I said, and uh, playing football. Typed in the breed. White, yada yada yada. With the breed of the dog playing football. Well, it was interesting. It made up a nice, I mean, a beautiful representation or beautiful photograph, or drawing, painting, image of this dog. But instead of an American football, it came out with a soccer ball. I thought that was funny. I put in football and it went with the European idea of a football, being a soccer ball instead of an American football. But that image of that dog was so close to my sister's dog, it caused her to cry because it looked just like her dog. And that is, I've said this before. It used to be, you could trust photographs until you couldn't because they could be digitally altered. So you could trust video and audio recordings. Then all of a sudden you couldn't trust audio recordings because they could be edited. But you could trust a video. Until now, you can't even trust video because AI can generate such good video that you don't know. I mean, you don't know what's real or not anymore. There's video out there of Trump saying things that he never said. AI generated it. This new AI video of Gavin Newsom. Absolutely hilarious, but that wasn't Gavin Newsom doing it. It's AI generated. Yeah, football instead of football. Well, hi, Spanky. You decided to wake up. He fell asleep on the couch and he was all curled up in a ball. So I put his blanket over him and he stretched out and went solid to sleep. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, it was 45 degrees out this morning, and he made me go outside with him so that he could go potty. 5 o'clock in the morning, 45 degrees, and he wouldn't go out unless I went out with him. But when he went out there, he took a piss like a Russian racehorse. So I thought that was funny as all get out. Well, I've lasted a half hour longer than I thought I would, guys, but I am going to have to call it here. I want to thank y'all for coming out. And old guy, thank you so much for that picture. I am going to make up a thumbnail out of that and use it for this stream because that was absolutely amazing. So, but I do appreciate y'all coming out tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow's Friday. Open mic tomorrow, guys. So anybody that wants, I'm just going to go ahead and post the link to the top of the stream like I did today. Anybody, you got a mic? Come on, let's have a all the way talk, okay, guys? So everyone have a good day now. Enjoy yourselves. As always, be with the ones you love and love the ones that you're with. And we'll see you tomorrow.